There's a special kind of fire that burns inside you after being disrespected. It's silent, steady, and cold. You don't scream. You don't chase them for an apology. No, you calculate, you build, you rise. Seneca once said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." That's what this is about, not reacting with emotion but responding with strength. This isn't about petty revenge or trying to win arguments. This is about cultivating a presence so grounded, so elevated, that the people who once disrespected you feel it deeply, silently, painfully. If someone's ever looked down on you, mocked your ambition, tried to tear you down with words or silence, good. That's the fuel. Now watch how to make them regret ever doing it. Number 1, disappear, then elevate. The first step in responding to someone who disrespects you is not to engage in confrontation. It is a lack of presence. You begin to retreat, not because you are terrified, but rather because you are honing your skills as a swordsman. In the midst of the noise, vanish, due to the existence of them, as shown in the game. On the other hand, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste any more time arguing about what a good man ought to be. Be one with it." Allow your silence to have a strategic purpose. You are concentrating on the task at hand while they continue to be distracted. This is training. This is growing. This is getting better. And one day they will look up and find a version of you that humbles them without you having to speak a single thing. When this happens, the feeling of regret begins to set in. They were anticipating a response. There is a disagreement, a manifestation of one's lack of strength. They were taken aback by the fact that they were not confronted with anything. There is no text. There is no explanation. It is only your absence. When they first hear that stillness, it gives them a sense of triumph, but it eventually becomes disturbing. Mostly due to the fact that you are working on something genuine while they are still preoccupied with playing social games, trying to attract attention, and taking care of their egos. At the expense of distraction, you have chosen discipline. In the meantime, you are working out at the gym. Although they are scrolling, you are reading. During this time, you are making an investment in your craft, in your thinking, and in your future, while they continue to remain exactly with them. A quote attributed to Seneca states that the man who is poor is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. They will yearn for something that they were once able to obtain, which is you. However, you are no longer present. This is not in the sense of being trivial or fleeting. It is truly gone. It is impossible for the version of them who disrespected you to get in touch with you. You had outgrown them by now. The purpose of this is not to disprove their claims. You need to get to the point where you are so in tune with yourself that the views of others are of little consequence. It is about creating a reality in which their name is hardly on your mind, but yours keeps resonating in theirs, because they will see you doing things that they have never imagined you doing. Win without making a sound. With a peaceful aura. Moving with a specific goal in mind. If and when you do make a comeback, it will not be with any announcements or with any kind of vengeance. You will be the source of the peaceful power that it will be in, having self-assurance in your actions. The fire that is in your concentration. In addition, by that time, you won't have to utter a single character. When they look into your eyes, they will notice that you have been somewhere that they were unable to follow. When they realize that they have lost access to a version of you that they will never see again, they will feel it in their chest. The realization dawns on them at that moment. The price they paid for their disrespect was not your response. Rather, it was your absence. The quiet that is left behind by someone who has chosen to outgrow you is the one thing that seems the most burdensome. Number 2, master the art of indifference. People who are always seeking attention are frequently the source of disrespect. They are looking for a response. What they desire is control. Their equilibrium is disrupted as a result of your meeting them with a complete lack of interest. It was Epictetus who said, "What matters is not what happens to you, but how you react to it." When you choose not to respond, when you do not recoil, when you do not explain, and when you do not justify, you effectively deprive them of their power. When someone realizes that they are unable to shake you, it is the single most effective way to make them feel inferior. You have achieved the highest level of control possible, which is control over your own feelings. It is not weakness to be indifferent. Rather, it is dominance. The battle is not with them, but with yourself. As a result of the fact that you demonstrate to the world that your peace is not something that can be negotiated when you become apathetic to disrespect, you demonstrate to them that your energy is not thrown around by petty actions and that your value does not fluctuate based on the poor judgment of another person. Individuals who treat you with disrespect are looking to feel important. They derive their sustenance from emotional responses such as rage, grief, and perplexity. When you try to prevent them from having that emotion, they start to wonder whether or not they are relevant. When they realize that their words did not penetrate you, they begin to ponder why. The reason you didn't even blink at all. According to what Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not over events that occur outside of yourself. Once you come to terms with this, you will discover your strength. That is the very definition of disinterest. Your mind is under your control. When someone tries to drive you off the path you are on, you do not hand over the steering wheel every time they do so. This does not mean that you choose to act as if you are unconcerned. You have educated yourself to see disrespect for what it is, noise, and as a result, you are unbothered by it. Unchanging. A feeble attempt to drag you into the chaos that they have created for themselves. You maintain your composure rather of reacting to the situation. You continue to get better. Maintain your forward momentum. You answer with greatness, with success, with progress, and all of this has been accomplished without a single emotional outburst appearing on your part. Those individuals who used to make fun of you, they are going to begin to wonder why you never gave them the fight that they desired. Why you continue to win without complaining. The reason why you did not make an effort to clap back or prove a point. This is due to the fact that you were already aware of who you were. Getting down to their level was not something you needed to do. And it stings more than any insult could ever imagine being able to. Number 3, outclass them in silence. You don't fight with your own value. This is demonstrated by you. It is not by words, but rather through deeds, results, and composure. Consider Cato the Younger, a Stoic who lived his life according to his principles, despite the fact that he was subjected to a great deal of contempt. He was not interested in gaining approval. He maintained a hard stance. The most effective method for putting an end to disrespect is to outclass it, not only in terms of income or success, but also in terms of how you hold yourself. You develop a sharper mind, improve your composure, and become more disciplined. You construct something that they are unable to touch. Instantaneously, the insults appear to be ridiculous, even to them. The majority of people will never be able to comprehend the power that lies behind silence, because remaining silent needs self-control. Restraint is required, seeing clearly. If you are disrespected by another person, your initial reaction may be to protect yourself in order to retaliate. The purpose of this is to correct the record. However, what is actual strength? This does not explain, rather it elevates. It is not about getting even with someone when you outperform them. This is not about demonstrating that they are incorrect. It is about demonstrating that you are correct without ever saying a word. While they are wasting their energy by tossing stones, you are constructing a castle. Despite the fact that they are criticizing your name, you are making it untouchable. And by the time they finally come to the realization that their insults did not prevent you from moving forward, in fact, they pushed you, it is already too late. Cato was never one to submit himself to the anarchy that was the Roman political games. Even though he was surrounded by unscrupulous people, he maintained his dignity throughout his life. He decided to choose the more difficult path. It is the more difficult one. On the other hand, it was the one that no one could ever take away from him. If you are able to embody that mindset, calm, precise, and unfazed, you will begin to terrify those individuals who attempted to put you down. It is not through aggressive behavior, but rather through undeniable elevation. It is the ability of the mind to be unconquerable, Seneca once wrote. And that is precisely what you are becoming into. Completely unconquerable. Mostly due to the fact that the more they try to bring you down, the more concentrated you become. You are able to use their energy as fuel. Their lack of belief serves as your motivation. Their mockery serves as a mirror for you, reflecting back to you the level of achievement you have achieved. You make no further explanations. Put an end to your reactions. You get started on the construction. Without a sound, always and without fail. The way you go into a room is one of the ways in which you level up, not simply in terms of money or success, in the manner in which your presence is serene, the degree to which their noise interferes with your path. It is then that they come to the realization that the distance between you and them has grown substantially. This is the turning point. Despite the fact that they remained same, you progressed. The fact that their statements, which were formerly incisive, now sound insecure, even to their own ears. How about you? You simply proceed with your journey. There is no requirement for validation. There is no need to exact revenge. Due to the fact that you have already triumphed in the most stoic and powerful manner possible, in complete silence, you became untouchable. Number 4. Let your absence be felt. For some people, the only way to demonstrate their worth is to remove themselves from the situation. Take some time apart from you. You are the energy, that you are present. It was Seneca who reminded us that we should surround ourselves with individuals who are likely to make us better. Because of this, if someone disrespects you, they have demonstrated that they do not deserve access. Withdraw, without making any noise. There is no requirement for sensational exits or explanations. Just take a step back. And in that absence, something unexpected takes place, and they are aware of it. They recall the care, the presence, and the attention that was given to them, as well as the fact that they regret throwing it away so quickly. As soon as you take a step back, a subtle yet momentous event takes place. It's possible that they won't even notice at first. Assuming that everything stays the same, they might carry on with their daily routine, their life remaining the same. However, this is the deceit that the ego perpetrates. They do not become aware of what they had until it is no longer present. You have created an environment in which they are able to take your presence for granted, and now you have removed that opportunity. Not a conflict at all. There will be no flashy speeches. Your time, your energy, Your thoughts and your concern are all things that you just stopped providing to them, which they were able to easily access in the past. You have, without even realizing it, created a void that they will be unable to ignore for the rest of their lives. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The best way to exact revenge is to avoid becoming like your adversary." To put it another way, you shouldn't fight fire with fire. You do not engage in an assault. You don't even bother to draw attention to the acts that they are taking. You just come to a halt. There is no longer any effort that is not reciprocated. There will be no more donating to someone who does not recognize your value. You have allowed quiet to become the most powerful weapon, and your absence has become the most audible declaration. Initially, they would experience it as a lack of vitality in their bodies. All of a sudden, your notifications are not pinging. Your chats are no longer a part of their life. The assistance that they counted on to bolster their confidence is no longer available to them. They begin to become aware of their own developing sense of isolation in the void that you have left behind. It's possible that at first, they won't understand why it feels different. There is a possibility that they will think, "I don't need them anyway." However, they will, on some level, sense the pain of your absence. As time passes, the void becomes more profound. The once constant presence of you, including your guidance, your encouragement, and your ear to listen, starts to reverberate in their memory. They might begin to see the significance of something that they had previously taken for granted. They will always remember the way in which your words gave clarity, the way in which your actions spoke louder than any promises they could make, and the way in which your presence always raised the atmosphere in the room. It is not what occurs to you that matters. What matters is how you react to it, Epictetus once wrote. Through your decision to respond with absence, you have effectively taught them a lesson about the consequences of their disrespectful behavior. Due to the fact that they did not honor you in the first place, you are no longer a part of their universe. And now, the stillness that you've created serves as a reminder of the error that they made. As time goes on, they start to question, "Why didn't I appreciate them more? I don't understand why I didn't notice what I had." They will examine their behavior, not because you have compelled them to do so, but rather because your absence has left them with no other option but to reflect on their actions. Because of your absence, they are now having the most raucous talk of their lives, the one from which they are unable to escape. And as they attempt to go on with their lives, there will be no one else who can replace the void that you have created. They will come to the realization that the contribution you made to their life was something that is unique and cannot be replicated. The more time that passes, the more profound their remorse becomes. And now you have moved on with your life. Because they are unable to recognize your value, your life moves on without interruption. You have regained your equilibrium. You have focused your energies toward those individuals who acknowledge your worth and treat it with the respect that it merits. They will remember it. They are going to be sorry. However, you won't be present to hear it. There is no way that you will be able to fix it. Mainly due to the fact that you have gained a priceless knowledge. You should never provide your presence to someone who does not value it. Furthermore, by the time they eventually come to terms with the gravity of their error, it will be too late for them to make amends. Number 5. Build an aura they can't reach. An intimidating man is one who maintains his composure in the face of adversity, remains focused in the midst of confusion, and is unfazed by noise. They are able to comprehend your progression when you are no longer approachable, emotionally reactive, or connected to their environment. The previous version of you is no longer present, and they do not possess the map that would lead them to the current version. Epictetus was a philosopher who taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. When you have complete control over yourself, you are able to surpass them, not in a pretentious manner, but in essence. They are left observing from a distance, unsure of how to approach the one whom they had previously behaved disrespectfully against. It is not necessary to be outspoken or dominant in order to create this aura. The goal is to develop into a person who does not insist on continually asserting themselves. You are well aware of your value, and you carry it with you in a low. There is no need for you to do anything to prove anything to them or anyone else. The most powerful barrier is your inner calm and the energy that you focus on. The air of serenity and concentration that surrounds you is not something that can be manufactured. You must make regular efforts and learn to control your emotions while you are under intense strain in order to achieve this. From this point forward, you will refrain from reacting to their provocations, their loudness, and their desire for validation. Like a boulder in the face of a storm, you do not move at any point when they anticipate that you will be shaken. Put yourself in their shoes. They insult you, they stir up drama, and they are attempting to get a response from you, but all you do is remain silent. No feeling at all. No rage at all. There is no annoyance. You just need to maintain a calm focus on your path, and it is too much for them to bear, because the things that are taking place in that hush are something that they have never been able to comprehend or obtain control over. Control over one's own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors at any given moment. They are accustomed to people reacting to them. People are used to being emotional, vying for favor, and competing for attention. They are accustomed to these behaviors. On the other hand, you have surpassed it. You are self-sufficient and mastered. And in that state of mastery, they are unable to interact with you. You are not accessible to them. As time goes on, they are unable to shake you. Simply said, when you stop reacting to external situations and instead concentrate on your own inner strength, you establish a tremendous presence that other people are unable to ignore. This is the basis of Stoic philosophy. Their curiosity is piqued as to how you manage to become so unresponsive. As you continue to climb above the cacophony, they will observe you as you become more centered, more focused, and more unapproachable, in the most attractive way conceivable. When you remain calm, you get stronger. Your peace of mind will serve as your defense. It is something that they will never be able to manage. Thus, they are unable to comprehend it. As they watch, they come to the realization that they are no longer able to communicate with the one whom they had before disregarded. They are no longer aware of how to approach you because you have undergone such a revolutionary change. As you have entered a future that they are unable to even fathom, they are unable to escape the past. And the area that is where regret can flourish is the abyss that exists between who you were and who you have become. The version of you that they humiliated is no longer present, and in its stead stands someone who is untouchable, unshakable, and at peace. As a result, they will never have the same access to you again. It is impossible to destroy the aura that you have constructed. Number 6. Be unbothered and unavailable. As soon as they discover that you are not pursuing them, when they do not respond, when they do not participate into their drama, and when they do not ask for approval, they will test the waters once more. Now, however, you are not the same. You are not chilly, you are crystal clear. It is not out of hatred that you shut them off. To put it simply, You do not make room for people who are unable to deal with your presence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This is definitely true. You have gone on with your life, you have a level head, you have a clear eye, and you are not available to anyone who does not acknowledge the value that you possess. It's possible that you've reacted in the past. It's possible that you've experienced the need to defend yourself, provide an explanation for your behavior, or even let them back into your life in the hope that things will change. But at this point, you have overcome those desires. Your time and energy have become far too important to waste on those who have demonstrated that they do not deserve it. You are no longer reachable because you are occupied with growing your own life, building your own path, and connecting yourself with individuals who truly realize your worth. They are going to return at some point in time. People who have disrespected you frequently behave in this manner. They will try to see if you are willing to bite by sending you messages, testing the waters, or reaching out to you in some other way. On the other hand, if you do not respond, if you do not move and remain unmoved, then their efforts will feel increasingly ineffective. Eventually, they will come to the realization that the you that they previously knew is no longer present. In addition, because you are not there, they will be compelled to confront their own actions, which will not be as pleasant as it was in the past. As you can see, this is about more than simply ignoring someone. By making the decision to not play by their rules, you are able to take control of the situation. You are not satisfying their want for attention in any way. You do not react emotionally. You are not pursuing their favor, and you are not giving them space in your head. You have distanced yourself, not out of malice, but out of respect for yourself. It is not the things themselves that disturb us, but rather our views about them. Epictetus once said, "You are able to deprive them of their power simply by refusing to participate in their games. They are no longer able to manage your feelings. It is no longer possible for them to exert influence over you or to elicit a response from you. And that is something that they find to be extremely uncomfortable. In the end, all that is left for them to do is come to the calm conclusion that their typical strategies are no longer effective. You are not the same person that they used to know. The version of you that would have been a part of the drama is no longer present. Now that you have reached this point, you have developed into a person who is self-sufficient and whose tranquility is unaffected by noise from the outside world. In the course of their efforts to get in touch with you, they will soon come face to face with the reality. You are unbothered since you have grasped the value that you possess. In addition, you are inaccessible because you are aware that your value is too valuable to be wasted on others who are incapable of appreciating it. The more they try, the more they will be forced to face the reality that you have gone on with your life and they have been left behind. Number 7, turn pain into power. Every slur they said, every jab they hurled at you, and every minute they attempted to bring you down adds fuel to the fire. It was the Stoics' belief that difficulty was the way forward. The obstacle is the way, Marcus Aurelius wrote in his writings. The pain is something that you make use of, not something that you try to avoid. You will become more resolute, brings out your sharpness, builds up your defenses. Pain, as you can see, is not something that should be avoided or feared. Stoics believe that it is something that should be embraced. Every time someone disrespects you, they teach you a valuable lesson in how to remain resilient. They present you with an opportunity to develop. During times like these, you are able to create the most powerful version of yourself. Take it into consideration. Every insult, every betrayal, and every act of disrespectful behavior, if you choose to allow them, they all have a purpose. They make you face your own vulnerabilities and weaknesses, and then compel you to transform those weaknesses into strengths. Difficulties strengthen the mind, just as labor strengthens the body, Seneca once said. When you are confronted with hardship, your natural inclination may be to withdraw in order to avoid the suffering. On the other hand, the real power is in embracing the discomfort that you are experiencing. It is during times of difficulty that you discover who you truly are and what you are capable of. The disrespect that you were subjected to served as the raw material for your metamorphosis. You have the option of allowing it to destroy you, or you can transform it into the very thing that drives you forward. When they attempted to bring you down, it was like sharpening an axe each time. It is possible that they believed they were weakening you, but in actuality, they were shaping your strength. When you transform your suffering into power, you become untouchable. It is no longer the case that their remarks will have the same impact on you. It is no longer the case that their acts will have ripples in your life. Mainly due to the fact that you have now turned the same thing that they believed would break you into the fuel that fuels your growth. And what they fail to realize is that the more they attempt to hurt you, the more powerful you become. It's possible that they won't know it right now, but in the end, they'll discover that their disdain didn't destroy you. Rather, it made you invincible. Then you should let them to take their shots. Allow them to insult you. Allow them to believe that they have the ability to shatter you. Every time they do that, you will come back even stronger. You will construct your armor, and they will be left standing in the wake of your climb to power. Number 8, stay calm when they return. The reason being that they will return, with a phony smile perhaps with a few words of flattery, possibly acting as if they have never shown you disrespect. But at this moment, there is nothing that you need to demonstrate. You don't take pride in anything. It is not an attack. Just grin at me and continue to walk, because you no longer feel the need to engage rather than because of your ego. At one point, Seneca wrote, "Delay is the greatest remedy for anger." You have sufficiently delayed your response to bring about a state of peace. And at this moment, they are able to sense the door closing in a quiet manner. In the event that someone comes back to you after showing you disrespect, it is not your responsibility to tell them of their error. You have no obligation to pursue justice or to coerce an apology from the other party. It is not through retribution that the Stoic method is taken. Rather, it is through composure. They will return, and as soon as they do, they will make an effort to behave as if nothing has ever occurred. The fact of the matter is, however, that they are not returning to make amends. Rather, they are returning because they have come to the realization that you have gone on now. The fact that you are no longer interested in the drama is something that they are unable to comprehend. The fact that you have already diverted your attention away from them and towards something that is more beneficial to you. They are no longer able to exert this kind of influence over you. They are not returning to settle any other issues. Rather, they are returning because they are looking for something that they are unable to obtain at this time. Legend has it that Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life." In order to achieve victory, we must neglect the factors that are beyond our control. This particular moment when they come back is one of those things that you find yourself unable to manage. You are able to control your response, but you are unable to control their actions or the timing of their actions. Having no response at all is the finest possible response. You have gone on with your life. You have improved. You have progressed. Moreover, at this same instant, your composure and your reluctance to participate in the conflict become your ultimate triumph. Even if they are trying to get your attention, you have mastered the skill of being self-sufficient. It is no longer possible for them to disturb the tranquility that you have. You do not require their approval, their acknowledgement, or their apologies in any way. You've discovered something that is significantly more potent: inner serenity. When they finally come to terms with the fact that they are no longer able to control your feelings, they will experience the pain of their own contempt. You will never be required to utter a single word. They will just remind themselves that they lost access to your attention the instant they took you for granted, which is the only thing they will do in their attempt to regain it later on. It is not necessary for you to bring up the past with them. Their silence conveys all the information that they require to know. Your calm and collected demeanor speaks more clearly than any words you could possibly utter. So allow them to come back. They should be allowed to make their false gestures. There is no reason for you to nurture feelings of bitterness or wrath. As you progress through the process of restoring your power, this is the ultimate phase. You do not respond with resentment or pride when they come back from their absence. In spite of their efforts to re-enter your life, you simply continue on with your life as if nothing has happened. One of your biggest strengths is that you have moved on from the past. Conclusion. Now that you know all 8 ways to make them feel bad about insulting you, you can move on to the next step. If you found this video to be helpful, please make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on other insightful videos like this one. It is important to keep in mind that the keys to leading a life that commands respect without ever having to demand it are to have peace, self-respect, and mastery over your emotions. You are not broken by disrespect. It exposes who they are, and it provides you with the potential to develop into something more significant. You are not a screamer. You undergo a change. And as a result of that metamorphosis, those individuals who attempted to bring you down are compelled to look up. Not at someone who battled back with words, but rather at someone who outgrew the urge to fight. Permit them to experience it. It is not through anger. As a result of evolution,